Well, in our My Calling series, we, as you know, are looking for all sorts of opportunities to learn more about our brothers and sisters in Christ and what fills out their calling. And last year we heard from Emily Tryggestad, and this year I wrote Soren a letter and asked if he would be willing, and he said that he was, and Soren, we're very pleased that today you're willing to share with us about your calling, and it will be much different than some of the other callings that we have heard about and have different aspects, and that makes us all the more ready to hear what you have to say. We're all yours.
All right. Well, thank you. I hope I keep you interested at least for as long as I have things to talk about. I'll start with a little biography of myself. I'm Soren Tryggestad. I actually have a slash in my name after Soren Tryggestad. My parents spent some time in Denmark, in Copenhagen, and they fell in love with the name, and my dad loves him as a writer, as a philosopher. So when they finally accidentally had another child, that was me, they got to name me that. My mom's name is Lynn Narveson, of John and Daryl Narveson. But Daryl is a woman. She often was confused for a man, and it drove me crazy her whole long life. My dad, David, is of Keith and Donna Tryggestad. They met and married at Lutheran College before senior year. Their son, Eric, and then Maya, then me. So I'm the youngest. My mom is one of four. My dad is one of five, so I have lots of cousins. My mom's side, however, barely creates any children, but my dad's side makes up for it. I think about 45 great-grandkids and counting on that.
Oh my
generation's children. Wow. Forgive my leaning forward. I was born in Eau Claire. I'm going to read some of my notes. I apologize for the lack of eye contact. I was born in Eau Claire, and then we followed Dad's ministry and musicianship to St. Paul for 4 years, then Chicago for 4 years, then Duluth, Minnesota for 8 years, and then I started traveling to college in my own life after that. We left Chicago probably prematurely for my sister's sake. My parents did not like her situation. She was in high school, was falling into bad crowds, drinking, and getting into trouble. So we got her out of Chicago as fast as possible. I was 9, so I was oblivious. I didn't know any of this. I mean, a little bit, but what a 9-year-old could.
Excuse me, what was your father's ministry?
So he's a Lutheran minister, ELCA. I do have a slide on that I'll get to. I was an only child from age 10 to 18, essentially, because my brother was off to college and my sister was actually in state care. She ended up, my folks couldn't fix their relationship, so at age 15 they put her into a foster care. I was a pretty typical kid. I had no particular desires or strengths or weaknesses. I could run fast, I could play sports, I loved Legos, I loved bugs. I could always sing high. I'm still figuring out how to sing low, but high was easy. I never got into trouble, never once skipped a class. Still don't have a speeding ticket, so I followed rules pretty well.
Oh, you don't need to be forgiven for anything.
Not true.
No bragging included.
Well, I started playing trumpet at age 14, and I was pretty darn good, but in that school district there wasn't a lot of competition, so I was not as good as I thought, and that made it pretty clear later. I always like to live life in the moment. I've never liked to make a lot of commitments. I didn't do a lot of sports. I never planned my nights. I would just fly by the seat of my pants, and I'm kind of still like that, but it's hard these days. A couple pictures of my family. Dad, his dad, my grandpa, Donna. They're since divorced, but these are my dad's folks. There's my sister, my brother, and there's my wonderful mom. These are pictures from my wedding, and my wedding. Here's my mom's parents, who just had her 90th birthday, where we gathered all these awesome little pictures.
Oh, wonderful.
So I thought I'd take some. She just died.
Where do they live, Soren?
They were in Charles City, Iowa. City, Iowa.
Sure.
So not too far. We drive by it a lot on the freeway. These are my dad's shirts. Yes?
Are Narveson, are Swedish, Danish?
So they're Norwegian.
Norwegian.
So I'm 75% Norwegian, both from my dad's folks and then my mom's dad were full-blood. So I'm 75%, at least that's what I'm told.
So
And
the
what's the other
It's
piece?
European mutts.
Oh.
You should say it's Danish for the Soren.
You won't know
Yeah.
unless you have your DNA.
Yeah, I think
thought
it's-
I was full-blooded German, too.
I think there's some German in there, I'm not really sure. I don't think we really worried, or thought too much about it. It's, my grandma, my mom's mom is the mutt. My dad's churches, Grace Lutheran in Eau Claire, Edison Park in Chicago. I remember a lot of fond memories of Chicago. First Lutheran Church, downtown Duluth. I moved, on my 10th birthday, we moved there. So that was kind of where I came to adulthood. And then when I was 15, I believe my dad took a senior pastor called Concordia Lutheran in Duluth. So he started as an organist. He's a PhD organist. He's got 12 or 13 fingers, and he loves Bach. That was his job. My dad loves Bach, so I love
Yeah.
Bach. Bach is my thing. It's in my blood. I've listened to it since conception. So he was an organist here, a church musician, organist, church musician here. Here is organist, church musician. So like we're talking 4 choirs. This was a big congregation. It was 2,000, I think. 4 choirs, organ and bells. But he also did one ministry every 2 months. He would lead the worship for 2 months. Then he got his D.Min., his doctorate of ministry, and then got a senior pastor called there. So he was not the music director at Concordia. But of course, he still kept his finger on the pulse of the music program as a well-known guy in Duluth, one of the best organists in northern Minnesota, still is. I like to brag about my dad. So he grew the music program while he was there as the pastor. So I grew up a pastor's kid, kind of. I was a church musician's kid, but I was at church all the time, every Easter, all of Lent, all day on Sundays. I would run around. I ran around like I owned the place. So church was kind of like home to me. It wasn't like a sacred space. I don't know if that's makes sense, but when you live there as a child, get into everything you can. You know where the scissors are.
Markers.
Yep. So at that time, my mom was English and literature buff, so she majored in English and history. She was quasi-pro soprano, so a really good singer as well. So mom and dad did a lot of music together. And she would have to go to church to sing just about every week. You know how that is. But she devoted most of her time and energy to us. So she didn't work full-time. She kind of worked part-time roles. Until 1995, I think, is when she started teaching full-time high school English up in Duluth. So she was a high school English teacher, both at my high school while I was there and others. So all of my friends had her, but they put me into one other class because I didn't have her. So she did that for 19 or 20 years, and she retired 3 years ago. High school English killed her. It's hard. It's probably the hardest job of a teacher because all the papers. So you ruined her eyes reading papers all night.
Soren, I was a junior high English teacher. At Christmas, I had a stack of papers this high to correct. And that's why I started teaching math. You gotta check it that same, so give her my sympathies. I know
Yes.
exactly what she needs.
Yep. She just didn't have energy. She would have loved to, but she was 63. I think she had to quit for her own health, really, insanity. So that's my family. What else do I have? When I was 11, I was diagnosed with type 1. This isn't really relevant, but I've been diabetic and it's been part of me for my whole life almost. 25 years now. We figured it out pretty fast because my grandpa, my mom's dad, had it. So my mom figured it out right away. So we went to the doctor. I probably was one of the earliest catches of diabetes known to doctors because my blood sugar was very elevated and all. But it's a chronic disease, so without insulin every day I will die. Literally. So I just took 2 shots today during church. I had to monitor it all the time. It's my life. But at the same time, I often forget I'm diabetic. If you ask me what I am, it wouldn't even be on the list. That's something interesting. I just thought I would include, it's been made easier lately with technology. So here's a screenshot of the sensor I keep in my pocket, giving me every 5-minute blood sugar readings. I've had this for 3 years, and this is life-altering. kudos to every company that makes these. Medtronic makes one. This one is from a company called Dexcom. It's a competitor of Medtronic. But this has changed everything. I thought I'd put kind of a regular one. See, I often rise as I sleep. My body's, who knows, maybe I'm having nightmares. I'm not sure, but my blood sugar often rises in my sleep. This will wake me up. I can take a shot and bring the blood sugar back down.
The little sensor wakes you up.
It'll beep, yeah. So, I did a 20-minute presentation on this for work just about a month ago. All diabetes is, it's not terribly serious. We just want to keep our blood sugar in this little region.
Right.
About 70 to 180. If we're above here, we get chronic heart disease, amputations, all kinds of not fun stuff. If we're down here, we can lose consciousness and die or have a car accident. So we want to be here. So that's our lifeline.
You were below the line there at
Yep,
midnight.
it does go down. This is where it starts getting dangerous, into the 40s and 30s.
How long can you tolerate that?
Indefinitely, unless it continues to drop. So I'll lose consciousness about 20, which on this graph will be here.
Oh.
I've never lost consciousness yet. I've been saved by family 3 or 4 times before that's happened.
Can you feel that coming on? if you're
Usually,
awake?
but you lose the ability to as it happens. You lose the sensitivity to the feeling.
Huh.
So the reason I got this is because I told my doctor, I was on the freeway and I did my blood sugar and I was 19, and they said, here's your prescription for one of these. So if you know any diabetics, I'm not saying you should lie to the doctor, but maybe you can exaggerate your symptoms, and the doctor will write you a prescription, and then insurance will pay for it. Because this system is about $20,000, $15,000 to $20,000 a year.
A year?
Mm-hmm.
Do you have to get updates or something? Why, does it not last?
I'm wearing a sensor. I don't have it right now, actually. It lasts for 1 week, so you have to put a new sensor in every week. And then the sensor sends a signal to a battery-powered Bluetooth device that only lasts for 3 months. So you're changing all these things now.
You'd be surprised comparatively, that's a low cost. Compared to the drug treatment, such as mine, which is $10,000 a month.
Like the insurance.
So it's not really that much.
And the good thing is about this technology is this is a medical device driven instead of drugs.
Right,
So the market's
that's
bringing
nice.
those prices down. The drug industry is going the other way.
Yeah.
So these are getting cheaper right now.
So do you have a pump? Do you actually have?
No, and the reason is because I don't want to be hooked up to things. Like I told you earlier, I like to just fly by the seat of my pants. I don't want tubes coming out of me.
Okay.
So a pump right now does not control your blood sugar. It just makes it easier to take insulin.
Right.
And I have no trouble giving myself a shot. I do it a dozen times a day. For me, it's not a problem. So, yeah, I calculated I'm at well over 50,000 shots in my life. It's probably more like 60.
What about your veins?
They're in the fat.
Yeah, you don't do
Oh, you don't
The shots
use
are
the
in the
veins.
fat. No, thank goodness.
Oh,
I
yeah.
wouldn't be able to handle that.
Mine are
Do you mind if we talk about it just a little bit?
Sure.
Or we
I
can
don't
come
know.
back to
I
it.
talk fast when I get nervous. Please, bring them on to slow me down a little bit.
Well, I have a friend who has a search dog, and
Yes.
she has diabetes. And every once in a while when I'm with her, that dog sits there and will sit there and then not take his eyes off her until she eats a jelly bean or something. She'll say, okay, I'll eat Starburst.
I think your breath changes. You might emit some different pheromones. I'm not sure when you get low, but obviously the dog can sense it. It's crazy.
So what causes it to go from being at the red line to
Good
where it
question.
goes so quickly?
Good question. So diabetes is a lack of insulin. I don't make any, so I have to take it by shot. It's really easy. Blood sugar goes up when you eat. You eat sugar, it goes up. Nothing will bring it down except for insulin. This is eating. This is insulin. This is eating. This is insulin. This is eating. This is insulin. That's all it is. So you need to take the right amount of insulin, exactly, to be in this range. I did an experiment for my work presentation. 1 banana raises you by 90, which is about the size of the window I want to be in. So if you're eating dinner and you guesstimate correctly the amount of insulin within a banana's amount of carbohydrates, you're good. If you're off by a banana, it's my fun unit of measure. It's my unit of currency, right? Because if I were here and I ate a banana, I would go here. Vice versa, if I took insulin to eat a banana and I forgot to, I would go here. So
Now, insulin is produced by the pancreas.
yes, yeah. So my body decided to kill those cells because it was bored, I guess. I'm not sure. It's a genetic illness. Your autoimmune system will just trigger and attack its own cells. So I can't produce insulin anymore.
Okay.
Any more questions? I mean, I'd love to talk about it. I know it well, but I don't usually well on it.
You say it doesn't affect, and that's a choice that you're making, but that's an interesting choice.
I mean, I almost forget to say it's part of me, because it's just so normal. It's been my life as long as I can remember, really. So I don't think of it as different. Like, I wrote a paper as a little kid. I quickly got over the fact, I quickly stopped thinking of myself as unlucky and started thinking of others as lucky. So that's it. It's an interesting, difference in opinion. I worry about it. I don't count it against, it's not like a checkbox, like, here's my cross. It's not. It's
So to
nothing.
speak.
Right.
Yeah.
So in college, I went for music performance. I've always loved music. I didn't put in the work I needed to. I had poor technique. I've always had performance anxiety. I still do. And if I hold my guitar and try to play for you guys, you'll see that. So these three things really affected my ability to play trumpet. Diabetes really affects it when your blood sugar gets high. So when you're going to perform, stress shoots your blood sugar up. Can't play for darn anything. So sophomore year, I quit. I put it down and didn't touch it. I was so mad at that point. It was probably it was harder to do than my first divorce. I've been married before. I'll talk about that too. And that was easy because we stayed friends and it wasn't really a big deal. We didn't have kids, but divorcing my trumpet was the worst thing that I had to do. Like I said, I'm unrehearsed. If I say some things you need to edit, please do so. I was just a chemistry. I had a good experience with chemistry in high school. I had a great teacher. My grandfather was a chemist. And believe it or not, my grandfather was a chemist in a nutrition lab who also worked with computers. So I'm like turning into him, and a diabetic who was type 1 diabetic. So my mom's dad, who died in 1996, I'm turning into. And they always say I act and walk and look like him. So it's kind of interesting. He died of a massive immediate heart attack at age 70, so I got to keep an eye on my heart because I don't want to go quite like that.
They didn't have all this technology when he had.
Right. No, this was 90s, so it was.
I know.
And he was on the old school doctors, which was eat the exact same thing, only lower your blood sugar this many times.
Yeah.
Now we treat it more like it's an organ. My bottle of insulin is my pancreas. I need 1 unit, I'll take a unit. I need 10, I'll take 10. It's not quite. It's not a. It's out of the hands of the doctors and their pens and papers. It's just a living organ. So, I did not quit music though. I replaced the trumpet with my guitar, and I've since been playing for thousands and thousands of hours. Guitar became my thing, and I was in choir 3 semesters at Lutheran, including Nordic choir. I sang with Weston Noble his last year. Maybe you know the name.
Yeah.
So I did the 25-day West Coast tour with Weston Noble. So that was an experience that I didn't deserve. It was fantastic. I got to go to Vegas, and I'll never go back, so I got that box checked off.
May I ask?
Yes.
Does singing or the guitar playing raise your blood sugar?
Performing. So being in front of people.
In front of people.
This I can do. I can speak to 1,000 people, and I'll wing it, and it'll go fine. And I'll make people laugh. But music is on this other plane in my brain, and I freak out. I think it's because my dad was so good. I blame it on him. That I can never get to his level. I blame it on him. I don't know if that's real or not. I think also I'm a perfectionist, and I dwell on any little mistake forever. So my love for music kept growing. I was doing guitar and choir. I did private lessons in singing, trumpet, guitar, and piano. I recognized Emily in the future. She was 2 years behind me. She does not recognize me from college, so I give her crap about that all the time. And it's because the guys usually look at the younger girls and not the other way around. So I went to grad school right after college, so if I hadn't said, I majored in chemistry. I went to grad school for analytical chemistry. I kept playing guitar all the time. I married a wonderful girl named Mary, and bought a house with her up in Duluth, in 2006 we got married, I think. And we figured out pretty quick that we were just friends and we shouldn't be married. So we quickly divorced. About a year later we separated. 9 months after that we divorced. Stayed amicable. She took the trucks and the pets, I took the house, and we're still friends. There was no really ill will or ill feelings towards each other. We were just friends, and it was just a stupid, naive choice on both our parts to get married so fast. Because we were only dating in 9 months before.
How old were you?
23. And she had different ambitions. She was working 75 miles away, and her commute was brutal. So she was not in a good place, for that reason either. She was working in Hayward, Wisconsin,
Oh my God.
living just over the border of Duluth on Superior, which she was not happy. So that needed to change. But we're still good friends. We don't talk a lot. Similar to last week's talk. We talk when we have to, and we're friends, but we don't seek each other out. She's in Ohio. So I rented my house. 2007 hit, and the recession, which for people that were 23, 4 years old, was terrible. We couldn't find work. We couldn't find money. I was laid off twice, 2 different jobs. There was nowhere to work in Duluth or Superior as a chemist. I rented my house to UWS students in Superior. So at one point we had 6 people living in my house. So I was actually breaking even and then some for a few months.
Is the house still standing?
It was a great house. It was a very weird architecture, but big rooms, and up to 6 bedrooms if you wanted to count them as such. So there's a lot of room there, and I had a great time. I would not have kept the house had I not needed to. I was 40 grand in the hole after the market tanked, and it was just not possible. So what is it? Now into my work finally. 20 minutes later. What is analytical chemistry? Well, chemistry obviously is playing with chemicals and making new compounds and analyzing compounds. Analytical chemistry is kind of focusing. You're kind of relearning and learning more general quantitative analysis, so ag-based chemistry. If you think of like water hardness and titrating and figuring out exact concentration. And the statistics and math behind just doing the algebra involved in chemistry. We focus a lot on that. And we learn more about the methods and instrumentation involved in chemical analysis. So when you watch TV, they say, oh, my mass spec told me this was such and such. Nowadays, maybe some software can do that, but only recently. It used to be you'd have to interpret an image that the machine gave you. A spectrum, we call this a spectrum. And you need to train how to interpret these images. It's like a musician hearing a chord. It's like, oh, it's a major chord. A chemist would see a spectrum and say, I think that's butane. Something like that. I have some examples for you. So we learned spectrum interpretation and methods and instrumentation involved analysis. And I did 5 semesters of TAing undergrads, which I loved. I'm actually a good teacher. And quantitative analysis teachers are notoriously terrible. So I would spend many nights reteaching these kids what their professors were being paid a lot to not do. And I would give study sessions nights before tests, and they all loved it. I had a great time teaching. That's how I supported myself and paid bills, because it was a decent stipend for UMD up in Duluth to do that. I focused to my degree with more mix and a little bit of my first work with some computer programming, setting up the lab in grad school. I was just controlling some devices like syringe pumps and writing programs to move these physical things from a computer. For your pleasure, it's hard to see. Here's just examples of 2 spectra you might see as a chemist. Here's an NMR spectrum. Now the machine doesn't tell you this. It doesn't tell you what it is. It just says, here's my lines. Now you tell me what I am. So a chemist in a pharmaceutical lab might create a new compound, and they think they know what they made. They were following some blueprints. It might be brand new, so they have an idea what they made. They need to, the chemical does not tell them what it is. You need to shine lights at it, you need to spin it with magnets, and you need to use these instruments to figure out what that chemical is. And either confirm, or maybe you're trying to figure out how, maybe you're a paint company and you want to know what chemical is in your competitor's paint. This is what they get, and they have to figure it out.
I always wondered that about makeup.
Yeah, yeah.
Skin cream,
The same
how do
deal.
they make knockoffs?
Right. It's there's maybe 4 or 5 kind of basic methods of analysis, and then with each of those methods, more specificity and things that you're looking for. But in this signal, this is showing you where the protons are, the H's are, and what they're next to. So you say, okay, I got a proton here, it's this big, so it's only 1, and it's split into 4 or 5, so it's next to 3 or 4 protons, n minus 1. Same thing here, I've got one thing, 1 proton, I think, no, that's 2, that's split into 7, but also then split again. So that's next to 5 protons, but then split by further away, probably this aldehyde here. So you're looking at this, and then you're reconstructing that. So I won't talk about that anymore. Another spectrum we learn about is mass spec, which is something that's been around for probably 50 years or more, probably more like 70. You break your molecule up into pieces that are stable, and then you see the mass of those pieces. If you know the mass of the pieces, you can figure out what those pieces are, and then rebuild it. And you might confirm here, say, okay, this is next to that, and that's next to that, because this is telling me location, and this is telling me what it is, what the pieces are. So this molecule weighs 114 daltons, so the base peak is here at 114, and then all the pieces are minus the methyl group as that molecule is broken apart. So that's the kind of thing you learn about.
I don't think you have to worry about any of us stealing your job.
Yeah. I don't have to do that. So like most school, you learn pie in the sky. The things that some people do, the experts that are paid a lot of money. I don't do spectroscopy at work. My job is more, at this point, it's a lot of logistics and people managing.
What did you call that again?
This is spectroscopy. It's the use of
Spectroscopy.
yes. So this is mass spectroscopy, and this is NMR, nuclear magnetic resonance spectroscopy. This is actually how they do MRIs of your brains. Nuclear magnetic resonance imaging, but they took the word nuclear out so people don't get freaked out by it. It's putting your head in a magnet and getting every electron and every proton in your brain to synchronize spins. And then it stops the magnet and watches them desynchronize. And this is actually the rate of their desynchronization. That's crazy. I mean, the future is real. It's now.
So then if you
Let's
saw-
put them back together. Nature, they just desynchronize. They spin randomly on their own, and you observe them getting back to normal. And this is them getting back to normal.
And if they don't get back to normal,
Yeah,
that's
right.
when they find the aneurysm or the...
Yeah, so it's not that they're not getting back to normal. This is root physics, and they're all going to behave as physics tells them. But the imaging comes from this software being tenfold as complicated. Instead of this, it's doing a map, and it's color coding based on whatever programming. So it's looking at this, and this, the same, because the cancer, for example, won't change the physics, but it will change what the map looks like. It'll make, densities will be wrong, and fluids will be wrong, and all this stuff.
Thank you.
Yeah. So I don't do that. Like I said, I'll get in a little bit of what I do. How am I doing on time?
We have 20 minutes, 25 minutes.
All right. So my professional life, after grad school, in the recession,
Sports bar?
I put the sports bar there. I did that for a year and a half because I had nowhere to work. I couldn't find a darn job.
What did you do there?
Waiter. Terrible waiter.
I worked at Ecolab.
You worked at Ecolab?
Yeah.
This was during and right after grad school. The day I defended my paper, Ecolab called and said, "Hey, you still available? We need somebody." I was like, it was the best day. I was walking out of school and they called me.
yeah.
That was like, thank you. But then that job, this was actually first. This was intermediate. I had to move to Omaha to get a job when I was living in Duluth. Packed all my gear in my Subaru, drove to my job interview from 4 a.m. until midnight to go to my job interview. a full day of driving there and back, and then the same thing to start work 2 weeks later with nowhere to live. It was hard for us.
And to
There
go
was
to Omaha, is it?
I mean, it was
Yeah.
no depression. Yeah, Omaha was 8.5 hours from Duluth.
Sure.
So the recession was no depression, but it set all of my generation back, and we're still recovering. It really did. So then I was working at Ecolab for 3 months. I took a job here because this was indefinite length. They could have cut me at any time. This was this was basically permanent contractorship. So I took this. This is when I moved to the Twin Cities. Then this was a contract to hire job, which means I'd be hired soon as a staff member, not a contractor. Another problem with today's society is everyone hires contractors. Nobody hires anymore.
Right.
So we don't get the benefits, no pensions. So here I became a full-time cargiller, and then that was at a pilot plant, which is a uncertain testing environment that was going to get shut down. So only by the grace of who, the time of that getting shut down aligned with an opening of a supervisor job that I would have otherwise not ever even cared about or applied to. So I applied for that supervisor job, and that was a darn good interview. I don't know how I pulled that one off, and I got it.
And
So
when
I'm-
was that? Was that in?
This was in
2007?
2011.
Okay.
2011. So this was 2000, it looks like I'm lying on my resume because in 2009 I did this, and I lived in 4 states, and I finished school all in 2009. And then this was for a year and a half, and then this was 1 year, and this is now 7 years.
How would you rate the company, Minnesota and
Cargill?
Fabulous.
Yes, so Cargill is fantastic. The problem I had with all the other ones is I was a contractor. So I wasn't an employee. I was led in the building, I did the work, I interacted a little with the employees. So as an employee, I would have probably had a different experience. But hands down, even that being said, the way we treat our contractors at Cargill is Cargill's corporate culture is phenomenally better. We treat everybody respectfully. And I'm not just saying that because I'm being recorded. You can walk up to your CEO or your business leaders and say, "Hi, how are you? I'm Soren. Nice to meet you. I do this." And they'll stop and they'll talk to you. There's none of the hierarchical crap at Cargill. We treat everybody special and important. And we listen to all concerns about safety or engagement and things like that. The one thing that Cargill doesn't do all that well is pay. We don't follow in my company, and that's something I'm addressing. I'm trying to get more
You
for
mean
my team.
salaries?
Salaries.
Okay.
But it's so we win in benefits, we win in culture. I win because I work on a farm where I get sweet corn and eggs and beef like for free. But the thing that most Cargillers will tell you, and I peruse the internet looking, it's all salary. It's not enough.
So how bad is corn for you?
For me, it's
Nutritionally.
70% starch, so it's a lot of blood sugar rise.
Yeah.
But I mean for the general population.
Oh, so
Corn's getting a really
I-
bad rap these days, as well as beef.
because it's in everything. That's just because we grow too darn much of it. That's my personal opinion. That is not Works' opinion. I mean, we grow corn like there's no tomorrow. So we feed it to every animal that's out there, every person that's out there. And
Right.
we'll
So
burn
if
it
the
and make
chicken
gas.
is fewer, are they corn?
Yeah. It's not bad for you at all. I mean, it's corn. It's delicious. It's just in
It's
everything.
a starch.
That's how much butter you put on it.
Yeah, it's 70% starch by weight, if you take the water out, if you don't account for the water.
What about GMO? What do you feel
I,
about that?
this is,
Because corn is all GMO.
I have weird opinions personally that I don't share to people at work. My opinions are far more
Recorded.
existential and long missions that my opinions don't drive most people. So I won't even answer that question.
Well,
Because
and you were at Syngenta too, and
right,
that-
so Syngenta does more crop.
Right.
Cargill doesn't actually do gene editing, any, at all. We are, we manage stocks, we help people, animals be healthy. We trade, but we don't gene edit whatsoever.
I, for one, think genetic editing is fine, but I might be a minority.
Yep, and I mean, there's reasons to go on, of course.
Where is your place of employment?
So I work at Elk River. I'll move to this
Oh.
picture.
Oh, I
So our
guess
lab-
we waited 10 seconds.
Our lab is about 35 people strong, just locally. We receive, here's samples. They come in like urine cups, urine specimen cups. That's what we've chosen because they're really handy. This is one big load, a busy day, but that's about 600 samples. And that's only one of 3 sample streams. So we will receive 1,500 samples some days from various places. From suppliers, we'll be testing their consistency. From farmers and their consultants, maybe it's just from Farmer Joe down the road, or maybe it's a mega farm our consultant helps manage. And from our plants, actually Cargill-owned feed plants, livestock feed plants, and cat and dog pet food plants. We've had alligator food, hamster food, everything. We will get samples from all these people, and they will be logged and scanned and put into our database. So we receive 250,000 samples a year. My lab does bench chemistry and generates about 220,000 data points, my team of 12 every year. And our lab is essentially a repository for all of this information, which we keep. And if a formulator in Asia says, hey, I need to know which region of Asia has the least fumonisin toxin in it this year, we can tell them. So we're kind of Cargill Animal Nutrition's data hub. We have 3.7 million samples in our database, and growing every day, obviously. And each of those samples have about 10 or 15 or 20 nutrients that we have. So we've got tens of millions of data points on samples from all over the world. So we know what the best soybean meal is, or what the healthiest corn, or driest hay, right? We know this stuff ahead of time, and real time.
Like when that mad cow was around, is that how they tracked it right to the...
We will, it'd be some of this,
cow?
yeah, it would be some of this where Cargill Animal Nutrition as a whole, not our lab, but would, as a whole, will know all this sourcing, and we'll know where things go and where things come from. And we might say, well, stop taking from this rail line, just because maybe there's something on this rail line that we don't want. And we can, with all the crazy weather we have every year, but especially this year, natural molds grow on fields. So they create mycotoxins. We call them toxins. It's a scary word. But they're natural mold byproducts that every year we do this nationwide survey. So we know more data than the USDA on mycotoxins because we spend about $100,000 doing regional, every harvest of every region, every week, testing on all these mycotoxins, so we know where the hot spots are. Because you can't feed certain animals certain levels of mycotoxin. So you might say, we can't feed this to horses, it has to go to pigs. Something like that, because horses are usually, we treat them as people. So you need, and for health reasons, for biological reasons, you need to feed them the best material you possibly can.
Does the USDA ever come to you?
We will soon. We get occasional audits. We have a mill on site where we make feed. I'm not involved in that. I'm stuck in the lab where I want to be. But the USDA will audit the mill. The things that we make. Will audit.
But they aren't coming to you.
They might ask for data if they ever did. I honestly don't know. That'd be above my grade. But we would gladly give them everything. We obey the law. That's one of our 7 guiding principles.
I have a quick question.
Yes.
How about rolled hay for horses?
Yep.
Our horses are getting sick.
Are they?
Rolled hay.
So Cargill would, in a situation like this, we could offer services that would of course not be free or a business, where we could evaluate the feed. We would test the feed. Part of our program would be testing the feed now, and then doing a monitoring of every feed into the indefinite future as long as it's your customer, to make sure that there's nothing in there. Maybe it's too high in copper or something. You'd never know that. Maybe when it was harvested, the dirt had a lot of
Either rolls are too big in there.
right. You never know what it could be. It could just be mycotoxins. That it might have been stored too wet.
Yeah.
Too much mold. And you don't really know that. I mean, I'm not a farmer. I'm a city kid, so it's funny that I work with Cargill Animal Nutrition. I'm learning. I'm certainly I don't know best when it comes to the field, but I know how to analyze things and I know how to give good data to people.
So how would we go about hiring them?
You would probably call. That's a very good question. I mean, if it were something you really seriously wanted to look into, You could probably call into one of our business representatives who travel. They would travel to you initially and take samples for us. And as far as who to call, I could look into that. I don't know the number offhand. But they'd be probably based out of our corporate Plymouth building. Our lab is actually up in Elk River. We're not in corporate. We work in Turkey Mine. That's where my lab is. But you can talk after, maybe to find the phone number, if that's something you'd look into. We do have individual clients as well as, like I said, mega corporations as clients. So we help everything. Help lots of people. Here's one picture. I have a 100 square foot lab. Here's a picture of some analyzers. This is an analyzer for protein. These guys analyze fiber. This guy back here analyzes minerals, so calcium, phosphorus, zinc, and all that stuff. And then the lab goes this way, another 2,000 square feet. But this is what I deal with. So a lot of my day is fixing water leaks or replacing computers, crappy, boring stuff. Or getting service on this guy because it always breaks. So just to get an idea of cost.
How doctors feel.
Yeah, no kidding. So this is about a $120,000 machine. This is a $55,000 machine. These are each $20,000 machines. So laboratories are expensive. Everything's expensive.
You basically work 9 to 5, or?
I work 8 to 4:30, 8 to 5. I have people that start at 5, and I have a person who works till 7, so the lab's open most of the day. This is taking a while. Emily was right. She said, you are not going to have as much time as you thought. What I love, I'm a chemist, I'm pretty good at it, but what keeps me going, what gets me out of bed, of course my family, I haven't got to that one yet, is music. I love it. I was bred. This is yesterday, I wish. That's a younger me playing for a wedding, plays classical guitar. He's some of my buddies in my band. I'm in a rock band called Better Years. Here's a newer image of us. This was us 2 weeks ago at First Avenue playing. I played bass with them. Here's the National Lutheran Choir I'm in this picture, in that fuzzy spot. I met Emily, of course, in the choir. I re-met her. I recognized her, so I approached her first. She was like, who are you? So we started seeing each other also a year and a half after we moved to Twin Cities. Don't even call me. Don't ask me what year. I think 2012. No, 2011. And we did it for a long time, about 6 years. I didn't want to do it too soon after my life. I didn't want to, even though I knew she was the one, I didn't want to remarry. Partly because I was worried about what would my family think if I just get married again. Because they can't. I had a big party for the first one. Everyone comes and all these presents, and then a year and a half later, we ended together. But so I waited. I think too long for Emily, but we of course married on July 4th, which is my next picture. Here's me playing trumpet. So I've been playing with these guys a lot. And the choir I'll join again, hopefully in the future. Of course, we got married in 2016, July 4th. July 4th is a great day because nobody has to work and nobody really has any serious plans. I mean, it works. Tiny wedding. We had about 45 people, friends and family only, and only family that were immediate. Here's Emily's family, so I'm surrounded by 4 new brothers-in-law. And Omi, great-grandma Omi, she takes care of Lily eating today, so she babysits every week. And then here's my family again, brother, sister, mom, dad, my little nephew who's like 6'13". He's 23 now. My sister had him when she was 18 or 19. So we keep him straight. Keep him on the straight and narrow. He works in Duluth. He's a great guy. He doesn't take nothing seriously yet, though, so you got to give him crap sometimes. And then my brother, 2 children. So there are 4 kids, 4 great kids. Lillian is the 4th. 1, 2, 3, then Lily. For my folks, they have 4 grandkids. Similarly, this family, she's number 4. So Lily is number 4 for both families. Another thing I've done since November of 2016, I needed to expend some positive energy into the world. So I started volunteering here, and it's been awesome. They teach homework and music and good behaviors and manners to mostly Latin immigrants. Most of these kids speak fluently English and Spanish. But I'm the only one there who doesn't speak Spanish, so I just kind of have to make a dumb face when they're all giving them instructions in Spanish of what to do. But I've been teaching them guitar for 3 years now, and it's really awesome. I do it on Thursday nights, and their other night is Tuesday, but I don't do that because of choir. It happens at the same time with choir, so I can only do Thursday. But this is where you find me from 5 to 7 on Thursdays with these kids. There's about 25 kids, and it's out of Holy Rosary Church on Lake. That if you're on 35 in Hiawatha, that big, awesome, beautiful church right there in the park. That's this one. It's in that basement, and it's called Andale, because the little tilde over the e, Andale. Like, is that fast? I think, or speed in Spanish.
Andale, yeah.
Andale, yeah. So that's the newest thing I've been trying to volunteer for that I love. I get more out of it than the kids, I think.
How old are the kids?
2nd to 6th grade. So I've had a few age out, and I've had one now who's in 6th grade that I've had since he's 4th, 5th, and 6th. So he's aging out. By the time these kids leave, some of them can be really good. They're reading music from classical guitar, sometimes on all 6 strings in 6th grade. I didn't pick up a guitar until I was 17. So I mean, these kids have the potential. Some of them really focus. You know, the ones that focus and the ones that don't. But at that age, I can't blame them. I didn't focus either. But this is Caesar. He's an awesome teacher. He's still there. These other volunteers, I don't think are. But, so that's my last slide. I'm sorry it took a little long.
Will you favor us with the tune?
Yes, I mean, I brought this. Like I said, I get really nervous performing. What a classical guitar is, it's the same as a regular guitar. But the strings are a little bit farther apart, and they're made out of nylon. Some of them are steel wound, but they're made out of nylon, so they're softer. And I'm wearing fingernails, so that I have fingernails, because I'm a chewer. You need fingernails to play classical guitar, because you don't play chords. Everyone says, why don't you use a pick? It's like, I have 4. I don't need a pick. So, one of the first songs I learned was the Minuet in G, for piano, maybe you know it. I can play that much better when I'm not nervous, and if I were to play for you for 20 minutes, I would get my nerves out, and then I'm phenomenally better than that, but I mostly play Bach.
Explain the difference between the guitars again.
So classical guitar, the strings are further apart this way, so that you have more room for your fingers.
Sure.
Otherwise, it's the same. The other difference between an acoustic, classical guitar stops about fret 12. An acoustic guitar usually goes, I think, 17, where it crosses this body.
Okay.
So it's harder to play high, because if you're up on the 15th fret on an acoustic guitar, you're not interfering with the body yet. So usually you're only at this is one octave. So you have 1 octave until you hit the body. But otherwise, it's exactly the same as an acoustic.
Is there one easier to play than the other?
No, it's similar to the difference between a piano and an organ.
Okay.
They look and the music looks the same, but they are very different. They have a different feel, they have different expectations. An acoustic guitar is more percussive because you're banging them. You're playing all the strings with a pick.
Okay.
And with this, you're just on one string.
You're doing one string at a time.
So you can do things with a classical that you can't do with an acoustic, like tremolo. Stuff like this. So you could never get out of a pick. You'd have tendinitis.
Right.
So that's, it's all 4 fingers. Ring, middle, index.
Did you start with the acoustic, or did you start with the other?
Yeah, so another grace of God story. I did have an acoustic first. Like most people, my dad played a little at church. To get like a nice Martin that I would play, but I was wanting to do technical things. and the pick was in my way. I played a lot of like Dave Matthews, he's a great guitar player. He does a lot of single string technical things, but he uses the pick. Alice, my grandpa's second wife, unfortunately died of cancer pretty rapidly in the early 90s. This is hers. So.
A lot of recordings you hear the slip on the finger slip.
Yeah. That's
You try to not to do that.
I don't care so much. If you're recording, some people might. I kind of find it endearing. I mean, so it's going to happen. That's because there's steel wound this way, around and around, and you're going anti that. So.
My son shares your love for Bach.
Good.
And when he was like 15, he got turned on by that. Well, he went from electric heavy metal to acoustic, and then classical. Well, he didn't have a classical guitar, but he claims that if you listen to Bach exclusively for about 3-4 days, don't let any other input in, and all of a sudden you will experience euphoria.
Yeah, I mean,
that's where he is.
When I'm not here on Sunday morning, I crank on the Bach, and I'm kind of there. So that's what I do on Sunday morning. I do my YouTube.
Broke.
Yeah.
Do you have a Bach you could share?
Yeah, so the midnight was Bach, the one I played. But there's simple melodies you might recognize, like. I honestly, the reason it's that's my cross, is my inability to be able to do the things that I can do alone. It's the darndest thing.
Well, my son can't perform in front of anyone at all.
Right. I get it. I have severe performance anxiety.
Some of us are easily impressed.
Yeah.
Well, and I know that, I can rationalize. I'm pretty good, I'll be good enough. But I just get into this place where I see stars and I hear high-pitched noise, I can't think, it's just disaster. The reason I was able to play it all for you is because I was able to talk, and there's fewer of you.
There you go.
If it was a setting like it, and I was asked by the NLC just 2 months ago, would you do a couple easy guitar things for one of our concerts? And I said, I'm sorry, I can't. I'm not going to be able to do it, even though I guarantee it's easy. Just do it.
Well, how musical will Lily be, with the mom and dad that she has?
Hopefully very. I mean, you never know, every kid's different.
Yeah.
Like my brother's two, one isn't, he couldn't care less, and then the other loves music. So, I won't sit down, I'm sorry. Too informal.
Do you use music a lot with her to calm her in the evening at bedtime, or?
It's kind of all day long. There's all kinds of YouTube videos of kids' tunes, so like Head, Shoulders, Knees, and Toes, and Wheels on Bus. That all has accompanying video now, and you can stream it online, and she loves it. I don't know yet if she doesn't like it when I play that, because I ignore her when I play that, so she'll make me put it down.
Well, there you go.
She used to love it, and then when she, about 8 or 9 months old, she stopped liking it, because I would play it too much.
Competition.
Exactly.
Anything else for Soren?
Oh, tons, but, thank you.
Well, yeah, I've got time if you have a few more questions.
We thank you very much, and we talked briefly after last Sunday, and the excellent job that Bob Rusher did, and I said, everybody's different, and so we're looking forward to whatever you have to share with us, and I had no idea we were going to go in some of these directions. And I personally am awed by anybody that understands chemistry, because I don't. And so I'm reminded again about what a wonderful gift diversity is in a community, in a church family, in a neighborhood, and, you know, that you understand things that the rest of us might not.
I sort of, I may understand it. It was a long time.
Well, you're talking good game.
It was a long time.
And we're very pleased that you and your family are a part of this community and this congregation. And as I was saying before, when we were sitting talking, we hope that continues for a long time. And we're grateful for that, and we're grateful for today. Thanks, Soren.
Just to not be, I'd forgotten to mention my team. I supervise 12 amazing people, and supervising is a new level of difficult,
Yeah.
but it's more rewarding, and my team is fantastic. And so the lessons I've learned are never set an expectation that is a limit on what people can do. Because sometimes I go home and I'm like, okay, they're going to get this done, they might get this done, and by 9, they'll have done everything I wanted. So, I mean, my team is why work is so as good as it is. I have 12 fantastic people, so I love them to death. So I forgot to talk about
That's
them.
great.
Good management makes a difference.
Very good.
It does.